You've probably been there, right? You're in a discussion about the Bible, and two people are using the exact same book to argue for completely opposite points. It's a total puzzle. How can one text lead to so many different conclusions? Well, today, we're going to unpack a really simple framework that helps make sense of exactly how that happens.
Let's just jump right in with a classic example. 1 Timothy 2:12. This one verse has shaped entire church structures. On one side, people see it as a clear, universal command for all time. On the other, people see it as an instruction for a very specific time and place. See? One verse, two totally different worlds. The real question here isn't just what it means, it's how in the world we get to such different answers from the same sentence.
And that question really gets to the heart of the tension. On one hand, you have this single text that millions believe is inspired, that it's authoritative. And on the other hand, you've got us, the interpreters. And we're human. We're fallible. We make mistakes. It's right there, in that gap between the perfect text and the imperfect reader, that all the disagreements and all the complexity are born.
So when you're staring at all this disagreement, it's so easy to ask, well, does this just mean it's a total free-for-all? Is any interpretation just as good as any other? It's a fair question, but as we're about to see, that kind of thinking, it just leads us to a dead end.
And this is that dead end, the temptation to just throw our hands in the air and go, whatever. Theologian Dr. Gary Meadors actually calls this a cop-out, because, it lets us off the hook. It means we don't have to do the hard work of actually trying to understand. It just stops the conversation cold. And there has to be a better way forward than just giving up.
Now, this is where we can run into a really interesting danger, and it has an amazing name: hermeneutical ventriloquism. It's this idea that sometimes we treat the Bible like a puppet, We put it on our knee, and instead of actually listening to what it has to say, we just put our own words in its mouth, making it agree with what we already believe. And let's be honest, that's not really interpretation, is it? It's manipulation.
So here it is. This is the key. The way we get out of these endless arguments is to make one tiny but fundamental shift in our thinking. We have to stop asking only what the Bible teaches, and we need to start asking how it teaches. That one little change of a word from what to how is honestly the key that unlocks this whole puzzle.
And that brings us to the tool that makes this whole shift possible. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful framework that sorts biblical teachings into 3 distinct levels. Once you see these levels, you can start to see a path from all that confusion to some real clarity. Okay, so let's start at the ground floor. Level 1, direct teaching. Think of this as the bedrock, the foundation. It's what a specific passage says, right there on the page, plain as day. It requires almost no guessing. So if the text says, Jesus healed a blind man, well, that's a direct teaching. It's simple, it's straightforward. Now, building on that foundation, we get to level 2, implied teaching. And this is where things get really interesting, because a lot of the Bible's biggest ideas aren't just spelled out in a single verse. For instance, you won't find a single verse anywhere that just says, slavery is wrong. But when you start connecting the dots, when you pull together dozens of passages about human dignity, justice, love for your neighbor, that conclusion becomes powerfully, unmistakably implied. And finally, at the very top, we have level 3, creative constructs. Now, these aren't just teachings, these are entire systems of belief. Think about huge theological frameworks like Calvinism or Arminianism or dispensationalism. These things aren't built on one verse or even a handful of verses. They're these huge, complex structures that are designed to explain how all the different pieces of the Bible fit together into one big, coherent story. So let's just pull this all together for a second. At level 1, you have low inference from a single passage. Jesus wept. Boom, done. At level 2, you have a medium level of inference, connecting multiple passages to form something like the doctrine of the Trinity. And at level 3, you have a very high level of inference, using the entire Bible to build a whole system, like a specific view on the end times. You can see how the source of the belief and how much brainpower you need to connect the dots are totally related. Okay, so why does any of this actually matter? Because this framework isn't just some neat little academic theory. It's a practical tool. It is designed to pull us out of those dead-end arguments and move us toward having productive, respectful conversations about what we believe and why we believe it. Seriously, just imagine having this tool in your back pocket for the next conversation. You can actually pinpoint where a disagreement is coming from. Are you guys arguing about a level 1 direct teaching or a level 3 creative construct? You can better evaluate how strong someone's argument actually is. And maybe most importantly, you can just lower the emotional temperature of the whole debate.
The whole conversation shifts from who is right and who is wrong to the much, much more interesting question, hey, how did you get there?
So, here's the challenge. The next time you find yourself in one of these discussions about what the Bible says, try to resist that urge to just argue about the what. Instead, get curious about the how. Ask yourself, okay, is this belief built on a direct statement, a bunch of implications, or a much bigger creative system? Because shifting that one little word, from what to how, that might just change everything.